and then, oh, gossip. Oh, yeah. Ooh.
And then what does it say about somebody's character? Then they malign the character of someone else when they're unable to defend themselves
I think I'm being
because they're
kind
not
of factual
in the room.
right here.
Well,
all right.
What's going on? Was there no divorce at all? It was just purely you were just doing a sociological experiment.
That's right, to find out where her priorities are, and I am not one of them. All right, what about your life the last 24 hours?
It has just been a little bit of a crazy time for us and for our family, dealing with some mom and dad's health stuff. But I have to say, you never appreciate siblings more than when they are selfless. And I have the best sisters in the world doing an incredible job of managing all kinds of stuff that are unfolding with my folks right now. And I just, I woke up this morning feeling grateful for that. It's been a weird 24 hours. If you're watching news cycles, just in life in general, and you kind of have to hold true to what matters to you most. And this morning, it's being thankful for having some really sharp sisters who can handle a lot of things happening at once.
And you are headed there Friday again?
I'm going back up to Des Moines, this weekend again.
Friday. Well, we wish you luck with your mom and dad, both fighting it, correct?
Yep, that is the case. And by the way, the listener, you talk about not having been on AM radio for long. That's one of the, of course people get frustrated and they're not always the kindest by any means. We have to have some thick skin at times. But generally speaking, overwhelmingly, people have been so kind, people I hadn't seen for years, new people to my life. And that's been a real positive, I think, that isn't often talked about.
You know what I think we should do, because you are relatively new to this medium? We should do a segment where we take calls. Just go old school. I know McGraw still does it. He's the only one that does. But I'd like to go take me back to the early 2000s. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Tell me your craziest when you were on AM radio. What was the craziest experience you ever had with a caller?
Well, I mean, Brenda Warner called in and said, you guys got it all wrong about Curran, and then ripped the Rams management. That was consequential. But we'd have all these characters. We had Brother Jacob. Shalom, my friend. I mean, oh my goodness. We had Big Al, the Cub fan who was 90 years old. We just had a bunch of characters. So that's what you normally do in sports talk radio.
So you had the characters you knew kind of what to expect. They probably didn't. Did they scare you? You were afraid they were going to say something that wasn't sayable?
Oh, sure, that delay. We had Rich, who came down and wanted to fight one of the talk show hosts. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they were all terrible. They were. And how about this support I'm getting on the text lines? Pro Frank's wife. I'm very proud of Frank's wife on that one. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right.
I'm sure said with great, great love.
Yes. All right. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll hit all the hot topics in the world. We'll be right back.
The big, beautiful tax bill just passed. Do you know how these changes will affect your financial plan? What changes has your financial advisor made to take advantage of these opportunities before they expire? Join me, Kevin Lloyd, for my next tax workshop, 314-641-1010. Learn how these changes can benefit you and your family. 314-641-1010.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPLA, Registered Investment Advisor, member FINRA, SIPC.
The Backstoppers Week is September 11th through the 18th. This virtual week of giving recognizes Backstoppers' 66th anniversary and is in support of the Education Fund. The Backstoppers Education Fund covers tuition at all levels, technology, textbooks, housing on and off campus, and related costs, uniforms, school supplies, tutoring, extracurricular activities, sports, clubs, and more. Give back to families of fallen or catastrophically injured heroes as they head back to school at backstoppers.org/giving week.
Electricity is very important because if you don't have electricity, you're sitting in the dark in more ways than one. And when the lights go out for one last time, maybe, just maybe, you want a whole home generator. Well, that's where Michael Baldy comes in, because Michael Baldy can do that. He's putting in a whole home generator for a friend of mine on the Hill. Whether you live on the Hill or a brand new home, at some point you're going to need some electrical help, and that's where Michael Baldy comes in. He's been an electrician since 1996, and he has a full team of electricians who will help you every single step of the way, whether it's a whole home generator, maybe some extra plugs for the Christmas lights, maybe it's something in the basement, something in the attic, maybe the garage. Doesn't matter. Whether it's an old Victorian home or a brand new commercial building, indoor or out, Michael Baldy, the electrician, has got to be on your phone. Put him on your speed dial, 968-9999. 314-968-9999. You can thank me later. Michael Baldy, BaldyElectric.com.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
When it comes to mortgage lenders, I know you have no shortage of options. But are you working with someone local who can truly simplify the process? I'm David Goldberg with the Goldberg Group, and as a St. Louis home purchase expert, I know this market inside and out. I specialize in tough-to-complete situations for borrowers who are self-employed, looking to buy and sell at the same time, and may have been turned down somewhere else. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or seasoned homeowner, you can trust me with all of your home financing needs. Call or text me at 314-471-4030. 314-471-4030.
You're finally ready to renovate your home. Now's the time to start your project to have it completed in time for the holidays. River Bend Kitchen and More specializes in kitchens and baths, but also bars, bookcases, cabinetry, countertops, and more. They work with homeowners, contractors, and developers. Proud supplier of Waypoint Living Spaces cabinets, as well as other quality cabinetry lines. Financing is available, conveniently located in Soulard, Alton, and Mascoutah. Call 314-314-7411. Online at riverbendkm.com.
Remembering 9/11.
Where were you when the world stopped turning on that September day?
I was writing a one-woman show. It was my wedding anniversary that day. My son was 5.
He was at a trade show in Windows on the World on the 106th floor of the North Tower.
My son was at school. It was his second day of kindergarten. I had just spoken to Dave on the phone. He was starting a month-long vacation.
Where were you when the world stopped turning on that September day?
Remembering 9/11. The Big 550. KTRS. And now the opening dialogue with Frank and Jill on the Big 550 KTRS.
Powered by Worldwide Technology Raceway.
All right, here we go. Thought one. Charlie Kirk, 31 years old, married to Erica, 2 kids. And it was like a Quentin Tarantino movie. If you haven't watched The Killing, do yourself a favor and don't. He founded an organization called Turning Point USA. They have chapters in about 850 colleges. He had influence with youth. The Democrats lost 20% of the vote in the ages of 18 to 29, and some attribute it to Charlie Kirk connecting on college campuses. You can disagree with all of his politics, and this is not about politics. But I've heard him on podcasts, and him being a guest on podcasts like Gavin Newsom's and Megyn Kelly's, and he really seemed like he walked the walk in terms of his faith and talked the talk. He quoted scripture like Bob Costas recites baseball statistics, just flowing off his tongue. I know he wasn't perfect, only one who walked the earth ever was. But how ominous is this? Erica tweeted out hours before the shooting of her husband, Psalm 46:1. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. So a wife losing her husband and 2 kids losing their father, that's the biggest tragedy by far. And you have to wonder, moving forward, about the health of far-right political figures, people like Clay Travis, Tucker Carlson, Buck Sexton, or people on the far left, AOC, Bernie, and Mandani. Because in 2025, in the United States, freedom of speech, political discourse, the exchange of ideas is in peril. It was yesterday when a 31-year-old lost his life. At the end of the day, we're all Americans. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. We're all Americans, and we lost a father and a husband in Utah yesterday afternoon.
Continuing that thought from what you just said, that disturbing trend of political violence, I think we just have to address it. And whether you're talking about the shooting of Steve Scalise in a softball game, the recent murder, of a Minnesota state legislator and her husband, the hammer attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband, the firebomb attack to governor of Pennsylvania, and of course the attempt on our president, Donald Trump's life. It's not just news. It's a flashing red warning light for democracy. We're supposed to fight with our words, not assassinate. First Amendment gives us the right to argue passionately, but does not give us the right to spill blood. Here's the thing. Our country is built on the idea we can fiercely disagree and still settle those disagreements peacefully. We may feel angry with someone else's rhetoric for good reason, but acting on that anger with violence, never okay. I think we have dangerously entered the era of high conflict. Regular conflict means we disagree, can get frustrated with opposing views, of course. Experts tell us when we enter a high conflict mode psychologically, we dehumanize our opponents and wrongfully believe someone's worth is determined by their political views. We simply have to do better.
Very eloquent. And you know, Jill, if more of that would have been relayed what you just said and what I tried to say on the airwaves, it would have been a better, and it wouldn't have been a good day, but it would have been better. Instead, you had this Matthew Dowd, who worked for George Bush, saying hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which leads to hateful action. This is right after he died, and MSNBC fired Matthew Dowd yesterday. All right, thought two. Let me switch topics, and I'll give you my one sports thought for the day. Who is the biggest winner in our region in terms of being a coach? I think we have to go to Columbia and say Eli Drinkwitz is in a really good place, despite what Charlie Tuna may say. It's 21 wins in 2 years. It's the most wins in the first 5 years of a career than any Mizzou coach. And it's still early, but you just have a feeling he may have something special again in Columbia, and we're thrilled about it because we are the flagship station for Mizzou football. Think about it. His quarterback decision. He knew he had to replace Brady Cook, and he got a guy playing better than any SEC quarterback, Bo Perbula. He recruited him. He budgeted for him. He coached him up. He needed a replacement for Luther Burden. He got Kevin Coleman. He's on track to have a better season than Luther. He needed a running back. He convinced one of the most productive backs in the portal to come in, Ahmad Hardy. Then yesterday, I'm with Laird Veach, the Mizzou AD, and I said, tell me something I don't know about the coach. And he says, you know, he took the football team on a mission trip to Jamaica. They were sleeping in cots in 100-degree temperatures, and when they were not actually doing missionary work, he got to know them really well. He got to learn all about their families. He connected. You know, I remember talking to a recruit about Drink, and I said, what about him? And he said, well, he just speaks our language. He's really cool. He sometimes uses a man purse. He wears cool Air Jordans. He just speaks our language. I hope I'm not wrong, but I think this thing could last for a long time. And he doesn't miss a thing. Jill, Friday, I tweeted out a photo of me with Jack Nicklaus. He texts me the photo and writes, I'm jealous of you. I mean, this guy drinks a lot of soda. He doesn't rest, and he's got a line for everybody. I'm excited that he is the coach of our state university.
Okay, that's a good one. I think most of us wake up every year on 9/11, and anybody who was alive and still and out in the world at that time, old enough to remember, pauses and thinks, what was I doing when that first tower was hit all these years ago now? For me, I was home. At that time, I had switched to a part-time schedule at the TV station, trying to balance having two very young children, being a mom, and my passion as a reporter as well. And so, as happened most days, I was fixing the girls' breakfast, and the Today Show was up in that corner TV in the kitchen with the sound off. And I saw this image of what looked like New York City and a plane hitting a building in New York City. I turned it up, and of course, the talk between the hosts at that time was something very wrong must have happened in air traffic control. As they're talking, the second tower was hit, and then we realized potentially our country was under attack. I decided to go ahead and I'd take the girls to their preschool, and even though it was a day that I wasn't supposed to be going into the station, when I picked up the kids at my friend's house, because we had a carpool going, and I walked in and I said, "Can you believe what's happening?" She said, "What are you talking about?" They hadn't had the TV on that morning, and I brought the kids inside the house, told them to play for a second. We walked over, turned on her TV, and stood there for about 15 minutes just watching what was happening unfold. I took the kids into preschool and then immediately drove to the TV station, and everything else is a blur as we began to actually get calls at the station from families talking about believing that they had family members on an airplane, families from St. Louis on an airplane that may have been hijacked and wanted to know if we had any information at the station. And I had covered the Oklahoma City bombings before that. I was one of the first reporters on the scene there, but nothing ever prepared me for that unfolding on that day.
Wow. Gosh, I'm speechless. Yeah, there was also the day that Belle Reve was going to begin the World Championships, the golf tournament, where the best golfers in the world were right there on Ladue Road. And we're out there in the morning, and I can still remember Tiger Woods, getting the news and getting in his Buick Sport Utility, I guess it was the Enclave, on that Circle Drive, and just taking off and driving straight to Florida. And all the golfers. And we're interviewing a few of them. So, there should be no golf played. And, of course, the sports world shut down immediately after that. But, yeah, that was just an unbelievable morning. And then I remember going to the press room. We're just sitting there. We thought we were going to be interviewing and shooting all these great golfers. And all we did was just sit there and watch. So, ooh. All right. Let's see. Thought 3, just a stream of con. Ferrados, last night in Rock Hill. Haven't been there in a long time. Just, it's amazing the business they do. And that house salad is as good as anything. Their pizza's great. Everything tasty. Matt, who is Bob Ramsey's brother-in-law, runs the place. It's a terrific go-to. I would definitely check it out. And finally, I'm not going to tell him this in person, but I got to tell you, Howard Richards is just one of the coolest cats in the world. He really is. I enjoy giving him a hard time, probably more than anybody. But I honestly think there's like 20 people out there that I love as much as any non-family member in my life. He's one of them, but please don't tell him I said this. Mm-hmm. But just hanging out with him yesterday at the luncheon, he's a cool cat. Can't wait to see him tomorrow.
Yeah, he really is great. And I'm very grateful to you that you introduced him to me, and he's become a friend. And he's just a very good human, calm, measured, not a big ego considering all the things that he's done in his life that would give other people giant egos. I agree with you. Cool cat's a great way to describe him as well. So a lot of talk in the last, I guess, month or so, several weeks for sure, about the possibility of a data center out in St. Charles. This has not gotten as much news, but I think it's kind of interesting. Green Street Real Estate Ventures, the somewhat beleaguered development company in St. Louis, of course, the ones behind the now shuttered Armory project. There's talk that Armory project and the land around it is going to be turned into potentially a data center. Not exactly 100% confirmed yet. St. Louis Magazine is reporting this morning that Green Street principal, one of the Green Street principals, has told media outlets that he's working on an office data center for the site. The data center laid out means that they would occupy the existing parking lot next to the Midtown Power Station and the Armory. Green Street still owes more than $80,000 in unpaid property taxes on the site, so I'm sure they're looking forward to figuring out a way to develop it as well.
All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Bill McClellan from the Post-Dispatch about a variety of topics. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS.
Are you retired? Are you thinking about retiring? Who is helping you with retirement? Might be time to check out the show When Retirement Happens, hosted by Kevin Lloyd of Legacy Wealth Advisors. Saturday at 1, Sunday at noon on the Big 550 KTRS.
Mama's on the Hill is the legendary birthplace of the Toasted Rav, and Mama's is the premier family restaurant on the Hill. Make a reservation online at mamasonthehill.com.
The Missouri Laborers Union and their contractors invest in people, making them extraordinary. How? Through training, creating careers, providing good wages, having superior health insurance, and a strong retirement. These are just a few of the many ways they invest in their members. The Missouri Laborers Union and their contractors understand the importance of having a strong workforce, and it starts with investing in people. Go to buildunion.com for more information.
It's the Big Sports Show with Sports Director Brendan Lisi. Weeknights 7 to 9 on the Talk of St. Louis, the Big 550, KTRS.
Most people think if I name my husband as beneficiary, everything's going to be okay, and that's not necessarily true.
I'm Scott Garcia with Premier Estate and Income Planning.
What am I doing taking care of people after somebody has passed and all the mess that comes with that?
And I'm Jennifer Cermak, Chief Counsel and Estate Planning Attorney of Premier Estate and Income Planning.
No longer is the attorney the gatekeeper to your lives.
Let us show you how to protect your assets, avoid probate, and retire with confidence.
Having an estate plan could be the most important document you could ever have.
The Premier Income and Estate Planning Show, this Saturday at 4 and this Sunday morning at 7 on the Big 550 KTRS.
With over 30 years of experience in top quality senior living, McKnight Place Assisted Living knows how to help its residents live fulfilling lives. The professional staff gets to know all residents and their families. McKnight Place Assisted Living has become known for its high quality amenities, personalized services, and expert care. But its history of making people a priority is what really sets it apart from many other senior communities. That starts with the residents and extends to their loved ones. 314-993-3333 or visit them at McKnight place.com. The City of Wildwood invites you to join the celebration as it celebrates its 30th anniversary. Celebrate Wildwood will be Saturday, September 20th, kicking off with its parade at 10 a.m. and then followed by all-day activities with fun for the whole family. A large assortment of kids' activities for all ages, and for adults, a vendor market, food vendors, music and dancing, and the night wraps up with a spectacular fireworks show. For more information, go to cityofwildwood.com/celebrate Wildwood. Consider yourself invited.
Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Dan Lang. Join me every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3 on the Big 550 for Animal Talk, where I talk about everything regarding dogs, cats, and other domestic animals. Topics include nutrition, training, medical checkups, special guests show up now and then, and of course, I'll answer your questions. So join me every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3 for Animal Talk on the Big 550 KTRS, the Animal Talk of St. Louis.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
We haven't been in the 90s in St. Louis for 22 days. I think that streak comes to an end this afternoon under mostly sunny skies. I'm forecasting a high of 91. Humidity is still in check, though. Warm 80s for your evening plans, and then we're clear overnight with a low in the mid-60s. Friday trends just a little warmer. Mostly sunny tomorrow and 93. Downright hot this weekend. Both Saturday and Sunday up to about 95. Humidity comes up a little bit, but the heat index not really much of a factor. We could really use some rain, but we are looking dry, unfortunately, at least through Saturday, perhaps even longer than that. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers on the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
Welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. He's one of the great columnists we've ever had in our town. He's Bill McClellan from the Post-Dispatch. Bill, good to be with you. Hope you're well. And right off the bat, how do you remember that tragic 9/11 morning? Where were you and what was your day like?
Oh, I can recall it very well, Frank. I was on my way to interview some guy who was having tax problems with the government, some kind of a dispute, not terribly important or a lot of money involved, but, just typical story that I would do. And I heard that there had been this crash and then a second one. And I thought, boy, I don't want to write a story tomorrow about a guy fighting with the government. That is just going to be like inappropriate. And for that guy too, for the guy I was going to write about. So I went over to Children's Hospital on Grand, and I knew somebody who worked in the ICU unit there. And I went in there and just spent a couple hours with them just to do a story about how no matter how bad things are, there's life just goes on at the ICU, at Children's Department, at Children's Hospital, and the fight that they're waging on behalf of the kids just keeps going on. And they would sneak away and get a look at the TVs because everybody was watching television then and just kind of astounded. But the nurses and doctors would just take a glance at the TVs and then get back to work. And so I did a column on that, and I just thought that's a whole lot better than some fella fighting with the government.
Bill, how do you think we changed as a people, as a country, in the wake of 9/11?
Well, that's a great question. I'm not sure. Initially, everybody pulled together. I mean, if you remember, George W. Bush had not been a popular president among the Democrats. Disliked him intensely, and everybody talked about how he was spending, too little time at the White House, blah, blah, blah. And after 9/11, he rose to the occasion, and everybody was behind him, and it was great to see. And I mean, and maybe it all didn't work out so well because the next thing you knew, we were invading Iraq. But there was that moment, when I say moment, I'm talking about months of unity. And that was a nice thing. And I thought that George W. Bush really handled himself well. Mm-hmm. And of course, so did Rudy Giuliani, for that matter. Remember, he was America's mayor. Mm-hmm. So it was a wonderful coming together, but it didn't last forever. That's for sure.
The thing about it, too, is not only was it that horrendous, tragic day, but like the ramifications of that. I mean, the post 9/11 wars have cost, us trillions of dollars, not to mention all of our American soldiers who died in Afghanistan and Iraq. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, it really seems like I remember Tom Friedman writing a column in the New York Times just a few months ago, or after Hamas on October 7th, and he said that he hoped that Israel would respond a little more thoughtfully than we did after 9/11, where we were just up for anything, and the Patriot Act. I mean, we just went overboard. Not that that Patriot Act was so terrible, but just calling, instead of saying it's the Eavesdropping Act, electronic call it the Patriot Act, so like no one would be against it. There were some downsides to the burst of patriotism after 9/11 for sure.
Well, and you're just reminding me too, I think about my kids never knew what it was like to fly when you just could go meet anybody you wanted to pick up at their own gate, or you didn't have to go through this incredible taking off shoes and all the things that have become so normal to us in these 20 plus years as well.
Oh, geez, you're really hitting me in the heart when you start talking about that. I remember the fun of running through an airport, trying to make the flight, mm-hmm. and spilling stuff, and just it was so much more fun. And of course, the hijackings kind of put a stop to that as well, mm-hmm. not just 9/11, but the days before airport security, and of course in those happy days, as soon as the airplane took off, they would take off the no smoking sign, and 80% of the passengers would light up a cigarette, and the few people in the non-smoking section would have about 10 seconds before the smoke wafted over them. And, I have fond memories of those days for sure.
Bill McClellan from the Post-Dispatch, who's joining us on the Big 550 KTRS on the Frank and Jill Show. Of course, the news of the day, the assassination of a gentleman that was beloved by many on the right, Charlie Kirk. And I'm wondering, moving forward with this, if you are like far on the right, like say Clay Travis or Ben Shapiro, or if you are far on the left, like AOC or Bernie, why on earth would you ever go to an outdoor setting and try to have, freedom of speech and a political discourse and the exchange of ideas?
Yeah, I can't answer that, Frank. I mean, things are so dangerous out there now. I'm reminded of the 60s when there were all the assassinations, JFK, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, George Wallace was shot. It just seemed like the center wasn't holding and things were just falling apart. And then those assassinations stopped and we started getting these mass shootings. I don't know. And if I were a politician, especially on, like you say, on the far left or far right, I wouldn't want to go out in public and, be a target. Mm-hmm. And we don't seem to be able to protect anybody. I mean, when President Trump gets shot at and nicked apparently in the ear, and that's very close to an assassination. And then shortly thereafter, some guy hiding in the golf course with a rifle. It's just getting too bizarre to even think about it. And especially since there doesn't seem to be any answers. The people on the left say, well, we need some kind of gun control, but whether or not gun can, and I'm in favor of all sorts of gun control things, but I don't think that it would completely put a stop to this because, no one's talking about taking away rifles from hunters. And that's who's, doing these shootings. I mean, people aren't using sidearms or 45s or 38s or something. They're using rifles. And so I don't have any solutions.
Bill, you mentioned a time of historical political turmoil in the late 60s and then post-Vietnam War in our country. There was just a lot of division, right, as it's been recounted and as people remember back to that time. People had very strong feelings. Is this a 55 plus years later, or is this 50 to 55 years later of that era? Is this another version of just tumultuous change coming with people having very different perspectives, or is what we're living through in terms of division in our country worse today than it was then?
Yeah, I don't know, Joe. I mean, it seems to me that the divisions are much worse now than they used to be. But then again, I knew people who positively detested Clinton, and I knew people who positively detested W. And looking back, figures like that, Clinton and W, seem harmless, and you could disagree with them, but hating them just seemed kind of silly. And now the hate thing is just going overboard.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
Let me switch topics for just a moment, a little bit lighter. I thought of you on Sunday when Bill Murray was on stage at Worldwide Technology Raceway wearing his Cubs shirt and Cubs hat, and he kind of taunted the St. Louis fans by saying it's been kind of a rough 2025, hasn't it? Not that you've ever taunted us, but you got a fine squad up there. You're 20 games over 500, and This is your shot. You're probably going to lose Kyle Tucker. Do you feel like your Cubbies are in for a great October run?
Well, I sure hope so. And, I'm a big fan of Bill Murray. I really enjoy him. And I remember that he was out they had him on the field one day a few years ago as the honorary lineup card bearer or something.
Yep.
And he was out there and he took some cash out of his pocket and tried to hand it to the umpire. I mean, it was just hysterical. I really thought it was funny. So I'm a big fan of Bill Murray, and I wish I would have seen all his movies. I haven't, but my son used to love Ghostbusters, so I've watched Ghostbusters, a number of times. But as far as the Cubs go, they look like they're going well, but I'm up and down, Frank. I start feeling that Craig Counsell is really a mole from Milwaukee. I think he grew up around Milwaukee. He played on Milwaukee. He probably feels about Milwaukee the way I do about the Cubs. And, I've told people he reminds me of Kim Philby, the British spy who never thought he was a traitor because he really believed in communism. And I think Craig Counsell really believes in Milwaukee. And so every time he makes a move that doesn't work out, I think to myself, Craig Counsell is sabotaging us. But, they've just won 2 out of 3 from Atlanta. So, maybe things are going to turn around. I don't understand how Milwaukee never seems to lose. That's like the Cardinals. They had seasons where it seemed like they never lost. I know they did, but every time I looked up, they were winning.
Hey, before I let you go, 2 questions. You've interviewed everybody. Who was your most electrifying interview, or the interview you felt like, wow, that just clicked? Everything he said was a soundbite or a quote. And then who's the one person, male or female, in the world who you'd love to sit down and find out what makes this person tick? 2-parter.
Well, let me mention the second one first, Frank, because years ago, you asked me, who would you most like to interview? And I froze. And the guy I was thinking about was Osama bin Laden, because I thought, here's a guy who could be living on a yacht in Switzerland, and instead he's living in a cave somewhere. And I froze, and I couldn't think of Osama bin Laden's name, and I said, Barack Obama. And afterwards, I thought to myself, if I could interview anybody, it wouldn't be a politician. So now that you're asking me, I'm going to think about it a little more than I did a few years ago. But what was the first question?
Well, your most electrifying interview, the one you just love the most. This person just gave you.
Okay. Well, as I look back on things, it was Bill Bradley.
Oh, nice.
Bill Bradley, it was my first big interview on the Post-Dispatch. And Bill Bradley, being a Crystal City kid, was famous, and he was already a senator in New Jersey then. And his age, he was in town. They gave me 25 minutes, and I went there, and I thought, this is my big chance. And I had a tape recorder, and I tape recorded the interview. And when it was over, I realized the tape recorder wasn't on.
Oh!
And everything that Bradley had said to me, I had forgotten, and I thought, oh my gosh. And I said to him, Senator, my tape recorder wasn't on. Can I go over a couple things and I'll just take some notes? And Bradley was such a nice guy. He laughed and said, well, let's just do the whole thing over. I got plenty of time.
Oh.
And his aide was saying, Senator, you don't. And he said, I do. And so I interviewed Bradley twice. And it wasn't that it was, such a great interview, but I always remembered how kind he was to me. And years later, I saw him at a Democratic convention. He spoke to the Missouri delegation or something. And I went up to him and said, I don't know if you remember this, but I told him about it. He said, of course I remember that.
That's great.
So Bill Bradley was my favorite interview. And if I could talk to anybody in the world, now who would it be? You've stumped me again, Frank, because I'm going to think for years now, why didn't I just say, and it would be somebody, who should be obvious, but I can't think. If you were to say to me, you can interview anybody, I'm pretty sure it would be somebody old, somebody who had more, even older than me, somebody with real perspective.
Yeah,
But
some life seasoning.
Say what?
Some life seasoning with them. By the way, I have asked Frank some of the same questions that he asks with who is the biggest, who is the best, what's the one you remember the most, and he gets stumped sometimes too when I turn these questions around on him and who he's interviewed. So it's nothing to feel bad about. He asks the deep questions.
Thank you, Jill. It's just like when some people will say to me, like, "What's the favorite column you've ever written?" And I think I've written so many, and it's almost like picking a favorite child.
Yeah, good point.
If I say one, then I'll later think, oh, wait a minute, that shouldn't even be in the top 10.
You're a treat to St. Louis. It's an honor to have you on the program. Bill, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Well, Frank, I enjoy being on your show, and Jill, nice talking to you as well, and thanks for the call.
All right. That is Bill McClellan from the Post-Dispatch.
Yeah.
He is priceless.
He really is. The level of genuineness and the amount of things that he does that he holds on to in terms of the threads and the stories and the people he cares about and how great he is at connecting to just everyday people. He's a treasure. Capital Advisory Group. Of course, Jeff Zufall, speaking of treasures, he wants you to make sure that you have enough in your treasure trunk, so to speak, when you retire to be comfortable, to be able to support your family in the way you'd like to support them, to be able to leave a legacy for those who come after you, all the things that really matter from a value-based perspective. A lot of us have those desires, but it's so overwhelming, scary, frustrating that we put it off, we avoid the conversations, and we just kind of cross our fingers and hope. And what Jeff says so beautifully is if you get with the experts, a trusted thinking partner like Jeff and his team, and get to the nitty-gritty about making sure that you're not paying too much on your taxes, that you are devising a retirement strategy that really looks at your tax strategy as well, it's not as scary, and it'll give you some clear answers and some clear numbers to work with to meet your goals. CapitalAdvisoryGRP.com, or give Jeff and his team a call today to stop putting it off, stop letting it be scary, and reach your retirement goals. 636-394-5524.
Suit up like a pro, on the field or on the ice. Join us at Busch Stadium on Friday, September 19th when the Cardinals host the Brewers. 20,000 fans 21 and older will score a sleek Cardinals rink jacket presented by Budweiser. It's got ice in its veins and baseball in its blood. It's the perfect fit for fans who come one night, one jacket. Don't miss it. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
The Cardinals jersey hoodie is here, presented by Bear. On Saturday, September 20th, when the Birds take on the Brewers, the first 20,000 fans 16 and older get this one-of-a-kind hoodie. It's perfect for game day, chill nights, or just showing your Cardinals pride anywhere you go. Don't miss out. It's a hoodie you have to have. That's Saturday, September 20th. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Nolan Arenado, St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Kuna Food Service has been the trusted food supplier in the Midwest since 1918. For over 100 years, Kuna Food Service has been distributing the highest quality food products to some of your favorite restaurants while delivering superior customer service. When a restaurant puts their trust in Kuna Food Service, they get a team that truly cares about their success. That's why at Kuna, they like to say, they're big enough to handle it, yet small enough to care. Check them out online at kunafoodservice.com.
Inland Marine Boats in Barnhart has been serving your boating needs for 38 years. Hi, I'm Ryan at Inland Marine, your Mercury Marine dealer. Remember, you only get 18 summers with your kids. Make the most of them with a boat. InlandMarineBoats.com.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you. BishopsPost.com.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
When you pay for tree work, you want to be sure you're getting the most for your hard-earned money. That's why you should always use the ISA certified arborist at River City Tree Service in Baldwin, Missouri. Hi, I'm Steve with River City Tree Service, and we've been the go-to tree service since 2008. Tree removal, tree trimming, storm damage, deadwood removal, stump grinding, and more. Give River City Tree Service a call for all your tree service needs at 314-270-8071. That's 314-270-8071. River City Tree Service.
Congratulations to John Beal Roofing. Want to give them a shout out. They've been a sponsor of the show through thick and through thin for coming up on 20 years. And their message has remained the same all these 20 years. Make sure you call someone local. With all the storms that have been in the area over the last couple of months, it's been busy, and a lot of out-of-towners are coming in. They sure are nice, but you know what? They'll take half your money, and you never see them again. Somebody from the insurance industry told me, make sure you call local. I told them I was well-schooled. John Beal Roofing will guarantee you the best price. They'll work with your insurance company to make sure you get the claim you deserve to fix it and fix it right. Roofing, siding, gutters, all storm damage, John Beal Roofing will take care of it. Keep it local and keep it John Beal. Keep it in the family for 20-plus years. John Beal Roofing, 1-800-NEW-ROOF or johnbealroofing.com.
A friend asked a doctor neighbor who they would recommend to talk to about mom's dementia care and the fact that her mother was starting to show signs of Alzheimer's. And they said, no question, I would start the conversation with Park Provence. Their residential community has been serving people who have Alzheimer's, dementia, or other memory disorders for a long time. It's unmatched in the St. Louis area. They've taken a medical approach to making sure that your loved one's medical needs and all the different things that go with dementia and dementia care and the new treatments available to try to slow the process of dementia. And they also know about the human side of things, the extra care that's needed, the specially trained staff that's needed, the having somebody on site who can handle things that come up. Park Provence's medical director, Dr. David Carr, is one of the leading experts, not just in St. Louis, not just in the Midwest, but in the country when it comes to geriatrics and gerontology. And he is a nationally recognized expert in the field of memory care. So for your loved one, if you simply want to make sure that where they are, as memory has become an issue and memory care has become a need in their life, reach out today at 314-542-2500. Park Provence, the place to go for memory care services in St. Louis. We had a great second hour coming up as well, don't we, Frank?
Joe, we hear so many bad stories about athletes getting into trouble. I just wanted to give one good story before we end this hour. It's about a guy you'll be hearing about on Saturday afternoon named Kevin Coleman, the Pride of St. Mary's Mizzou star. A friend of mine who's a big Mizzou supporter threw a party for him last night, and he texted me just a few minutes ago. He's the best kid. And then you have Jamal Roberts, Ahmad Hardy, Donovan, and some other kids. They came down to celebrate Kevin's birthday party. And the big thing was there was no alcohol, no smoking marijuana. They just had appetizers and sweet tea, lemonade, and some birthday cake. And then my friend reminded him that alcohol has no place in their life during football season. You have to stay totally focused, and you just don't need any blemishes. These are the kinds of kids that are representing our state university, and that's great to hear. We'll take a short time out. When we come back, we're going to talk about one of the great restaurants in St. Louis history, Lombardo's.
More fiber and laxatives, eh?
Who are you?
I'm future you. Future me? Constipation with belly pain still coming back? Our doctor figured it out. It's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Andy from Hats and Stuff. The summer's heat is starting to break and the kids are back to school, and we're gearing up for an exciting fall with a great selection of NFL and NHL hoodies, ball caps, and so much more. We still have great deals on Cardinals and Mizzou merchandise for the entire family at fantastic prices.
We have a huge selection of St. Louis-inspired graphic tees, all at $10. And don't forget about the cowboy hats.
Located in Westport Plaza across from the Drunken Fish and the Kobe Steakhouse and the Soulard Farmers Market on Saturdays. Hats and Stuff. Good stuff at really great prices.
Hats and Stuff. News, weather, traffic, sports, and live local talk. This is the Big 550 KTRS St. Louis, Ladue, Glen Carbon, University City, Edwardsville, Manchester, Wood River, Grafton, Collinsville, Pacific, and the world.
Streaming live at KTRS.com.
Depend on
I'm
it.
Michelle Franzen. The nation is marking 24 years since the September 11th attacks, with ceremonies taking place in Lower Manhattan today, in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and at the Pentagon, where President Trump honored victims.
President Trump and the First Lady marked the anniversary of the September 11th attacks at a ceremony at the Pentagon Thursday. There was a reading of the names of those who lost their life there that day 24 years ago, and the president delivered remarks.
In America, we take blows, but we never buckle. We bleed, but we do not bow. And we defy the fear, endure the flames, and emerge from the crucible of every hardship stronger, prouder, and greater than ever before.
The president said today the nation renews the sacred vow to never forget what happened on 9/11.
ABC's Karen Travers. The president also included remarks about the murder of conservative commentator and Trump ally Charlie Kirk yesterday at Utah Valley University.
We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the hearts of countless people, especially young people, will live on.
The manhunt continues to find the suspect. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News the rifle has been recovered and believed to have been used in the fatal shooting. It was an older model. The spent cartridge was chambered and 3 unspent contained wording on them expressing what some law enforcement officials described as, quote, transgender and anti-fascist ideology, according to preliminary information shared with agencies. Consumer prices jumped in August compared to last year.
Analyst predictions for a 2.9% surge in inflation from last August to this was right in line with the figures released today by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Federal Reserve would like to see the CPI fall to 2% before it lowers interest rates, but the central bank's Board of Governors is still expected to take that step when it meets next week.
ABC's Jim Ryan. You're listening to ABC News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866.
82 degrees at 11:03 with KTRS News. I'm Steve Potter. The nonprofit Carry the Load is marking today's 9/11 anniversary with a cleanup effort at dozens of cemeteries. This includes Jefferson Barracks, where over 100 volunteers will clean headstones and beautify the grounds. One person is dead after being hit along Interstate 64 in West County. Police say it happened around 6 this morning in the westbound lanes near Timberlake Manor. And police say a 15-year-old boy suffered serious injuries after being shot last night at a McDonald's in Jennings. Police say the shooting stemmed from a fight between the victim and a group of teens. Illinois Senator Dick Durbin met with members of the Illinois Farm Bureau yesterday to discuss the challenges in the farm economy. The group also discussed the role of foreign workers in supporting agriculture in the state. Reactions continue about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt released a statement which reads in part, quote, "Charlie was a patriot in the fullest sense of the word, a loving husband and father, an incredible friend to me and so many. He was a great American, a legend." Governor Mike Kehoe also released a statement which reads in part, "Claudia and I are deeply saddened to hear of Charlie Kirk's passing. Political violence tears at our nation's very foundation. America was built on passionate yet peaceful debate and freedom of expression," end quote. Kehoe has ordered all flags at state buildings to fly at half-staff through Sunday in honor of Kirk. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
The Great Forest Park Balloon Race returns next weekend.
The two-day event in Forest Park starts at 5 p.m. Friday, September 19th, with the Balloon Glow at the Emerson Central Fields. At 6 p.m., you can dance with DJ Reggie at the Newground International Main Stage. The balloons will glow like fireworks from 6:45 to 8:45, weather permitting. Spectators will be allowed to walk around to enjoy the view and chat with the pilots and crew. At 9 p.m., there will be a performance from the Shooters U.S. Veteran Parachute Team, and the evening will end with the PNC Bank fireworks finale at 9:20. On Saturday the 20th, the Central Fields will open to the public at 1 p.m., and the opening ceremonies will include another appearance from the Shooters U.S. Veteran Parachute Team at 3:30. The PNC Bank Hair Balloon will launch at 4:30, with the Hound Balloons launching at 4:45. Where the race ends depends on the wind. Sobe Bay, KTRS News.
And a free monthly speaker series begins this weekend at the Old Courthouse in downtown St. Louis. Sponsored by the Jefferson National Parks Association and Gateway Arch National Park, it kicks off on Sunday with a talk about the history of the arch by local author and journalist Jim Merkel. Future speakers for the iconic Conversation series include Amanda Doyle, Ed Wheatley, Calvin Riley, and Nene Harris. This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter No Florist, the place for all your floral needs. You can place your order anytime at WKF.com. The Boeing strike could soon be ending. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers have announced that a tentative agreement has been reached. The new offer includes a $4,000 ratification bonus and a 24% general wage increase over 5 years. Union workers are expected to vote on the new contract on Friday. Time now for the markets, brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune into Straight Talk on Retirement Saturday mornings from 9 to 11. The Dow is up 544 points at 46,034. NASDAQ up 143 at 22,029. And the S&P 500 up 49 at 6,581. In sports, the Cards lost to Seattle 4-2. Meanwhile, Cardinals shortstop Mason Wynn is dealing with a knee injury. Sources say he can continue to play without risking further injury. Our forecast, sunny for the rest of the day. We're looking for a high near 92. Mostly clear skies tonight, an overnight low around 65. Then sunny tomorrow with a high of 95. At 11:07, sunshine, 82 degrees at the Gold Tower at Westport. Steve Potter, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
And now,
Feed me Seymour.
I like to eat.
it's time for the Kuno Food Service Weekly Special.
Yum, 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 yum.
Right here on KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
And welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. The great people at Kuna sponsor our weekly special, and we're joined by one of the great restaurants in St. Louis history, Lombardo's. There's 3 of them, Airport, Union Station, and Carmine's downtown. Joining us is Allison Lombardo. She's the next generation. Good to be with you. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you today?
Good. So when did you know that this was going to be your family business? At a really young age, or did your dad and grandpa said, hey, look, we need you when you're 25 or something?
No, actually it was opposite. They kept all trying to talk me out of it.
Good for them.
Yes, but being very stubborn and hard-headed, I stuck with it, and I've kind of done everything from little on, just prep, bussing tables, waiting tables, cooking in the kitchen, to now management and doing events.
What's your favorite part of this business as a young woman?
I would say getting to meet the people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've got some really great regulars, and even people from out of town that are regulars that every time they come in for business trips, they stop by and meet us and get to know them on a personal level, and it makes them feel like family.
All right, so your grandpa, 1934, began it. Take us back to that first Lombardo attempt at the food industry.
Okay, so it started off in the 1900s. My great-grandparents immigrated over from Sicily. Started off with the fruit stand at Riverview and West Florissant. From there, they had a big old family. My grandpa was one of the children, and he would play, handball in the back alleyway while his parents and uncles worked. And then they decided, it's time to expand. So they expanded over to a tavern, had a very limited menu. From there, it went into the restaurant. They knocked down one of the buildings and, expanded. And that's how it started.
Let's talk about toasted ravioli. You guys are famous for yours. There's some lore that you were the first or one of the first to be doing it in town. Tell us the background, the story, and what makes yours unique.
So what makes ours unique is they're definitely different from anyone else's in St. Louis. It's going to be a half moon shape. It's, a pretty decent sized meat in there. It's a meatball, I would say, not a meat paste like those little square ones are. It's just very different. It's a big, pillowy. I mean, they're massive. They're really good. But we've got menus that date back. We're trying to get them documented, but we got them. And that's what I always say. It's like everyone thinks they have this, like everyone had the first one, but where's the evidence? That's what I always want to bring up.
So what year are we talking here?
40s, early 40s is where I've reached out to the Missouri History Museum.
Toasted Rab.
Yeah. So I've reached out to Missouri History Museum to see if they can document it. They couldn't help, unfortunately. So it'd be a matter of sending it off to someone to document it and get the carbon copy.
Smithsonian was the person that officially said, now we have the real evidence with the documentation.
Are they in other cities? I should know this. Toasted Rabs.
Not really.
Popped up anywhere?
They have a little bit from my travels I've seen, but majority of people, they come to St. Louis and they're like, what's a toasted ravioli? I think boiled is more of different city style, but I think we're still kind of in that niche group form.
A lot has changed, obviously, in the restaurant industry, just even in the last 5 years, it's different because of so many things like, COVID and a lot of stuff. What do you think has changed for the better, and what has still remained the same that is still tried and true for you guys?
I think the tried and true is definitely the recipes and the consistency. We very much are hands-on, and we're in there on a daily basis and monitoring what is going on and what is being prepared and how it's being done. I think with COVID, there was, kind of a mass confusion. There was a time where things were a little crazy. But I think being in the restaurant on a daily basis and actually working with the people that are making the food and working side by side,
And you seem to have a lot of energy when you talk about things like wine dinners and new ways to bring people in to sort of experience the traditional recipes. Do you have fun doing those kind of things?
Yeah,
for your
I mean,
customers?
it's fun, and it's in business you have to try new things every once in a while, and if you make little changes from here, I mean, we're doing it right now at Carmine's. We're running some new specials just to see how people like it and getting the feedback of our customers.
So for the people who don't know it, there are 3 siblings. Mike is your father, and you run Carmine's. Tony runs Union Station, and then Karen runs the airport location. And I think that, as we've seen with Italian families and restaurants, there can be some bickering and some arguing. How does this work? How have you guys just, gotten along, for the most part, quite good and just made it work for all these years?
Well, Italian families, they like to butt heads, and it's hard working for family, but I think we all utilize each other in different ways. We have, some people are stronger in one thing and weaker in the other, so we all rely on each other. And I think the constant, I got to call the trattoria talk to my uncle. I mean, we get advice from everybody on a daily basis.
So the fundamentals of every great Italian restaurant is the red sauce. I'm wondering, is it the same at all three? Tell me about the origin of it. Was your grandpa, is it the same one since 1934?
It's a little different. It's changed over the years, especially with like how you get your products in and things like that. So it's a little bit different at each location. I will say that. Just a little different.
It's really, really good, I should tell our audience. I had it yesterday at the airport.
Yes, so good. So you are starving. You just really want something delicious for dinner, and you can go to any of the three restaurants. What do you order? What's your order?
I really like our calzones, and I don't have them at Carmine's, so like that's my bread and butter. Like if I'm at the Trattoria or the airport, I'm getting a calzone as my meal. Second would be the veal.
All right, tell us about the steaks at Carmine's. Your ribeye is off the charts. Why are your steaks so special?
Our steaks are aged 30 to 45 days. They're cut to very specific specs. We really monitor every case that comes in, and we keep an eye on those things, and we hand cut some of them so that we are at our specs for those, because those are, I mean, that's very important, especially when people are spending so much money on a steak nowadays. It's got to be perfect.
How did the idea pop up? I mean, you guys are making toasted ravs and pasta and red sauce and Italian salads, and all of a sudden we're going to open up a steakhouse?
You know, I don't really know the story behind that. I know they named it after my grandfather, Carmen, so that's why it's Carmine's. But I'm not sure. I mean, I think just changing and trying something new, too.
Yeah, and downtown, not exactly thriving, but you guys are doing well. Why do you think that's the case?
We've got a lot of repeat customers, even conference travelers that come on a year-to-year basis. I've kind of doing the events, I recognize their names. We also have a very big local crowd from, SLU people, a lot of teams from there, even the U.S. men's soccer team we hosted. So we get a lot of that kind of traffic, even from sports.
Wow, that's good. Yeah, I would imagine the exciting things, shall we call them, not very, the roller coaster of beef prices right now have made life interesting for you guys at Carmine's as well. You started out, I think you said in the beginning, you were making the desserts at the restaurant. That was that was where you started in the business. You've had many other hats since then. What is the sweet treat that you say everybody just has to have to finish off a delicious meal at any of the restaurants?
I would say the tiramisu.
Homemade?
Yes.
Okay.
Homemade, that's really good. I will say also our cheesecake is really good. It's a really simple recipe, but it's really good.
You guys make your own cheesecake?
Yeah.
That's impressive. All right, so let's say you're not going to Lombardo's and you're not going to Carmine's. You get a night out. Where do you go and what do you eat specifically?
For me, it's got to be Napoli and any of the locations. That's my go-to place because I know it's going to be consistent.
Do you go veal chop or do you go pasta?
I go veal chop.
Yeah,
veal
really
chop's
strong.
my favorite.
Yeah. And how about your dad and yourself, Mike at Carmine's? What's that rapport like? Do you ever tell your dad, Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm the future here. What is that rapport like?
We butt heads a lot. I'm not going to lie, but we're very much alike. But there's so much to learn from him, honestly. He's a very, very smart businessman. He's been doing this for many years. But I think, me trying to push some new things is not a bad thing. But
yeah, it is.
Change is hard for people. So I think, we do a really good job at working together and using each other for advice.
Yeah, you guys, of course, are a very well-known St. Louis restaurant family, and you have a partnership with Drury-Inn, which is a very well-known Missouri family, and that partnership seems to have worked well for a long time.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So they used to come to our original location all the way up from Cape. They used to come in and eat for their, if they were traveling through as they were expanding their hotels.
The Drury's?
Yeah, before that, the construction business. But it's worked out great. I've known them on a personal level. It's funny. They'll pop in.
2 generations now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 3 technically, because the one child is around my age, so he comes in too.
Everybody expressing their love on the text lines. Let me read some of these. Went as a kid to Lombardo's on Riverview. Uncle Gus, Angelo, and Carmen were always there. Love the food. There's not another restaurant in St. Louis that has better toasted rab than Lombardo's. I've tried them all. Had toasted ravs in Denver. The owner of the place was, you guessed it, from St. Louis. So a lot of people just remembering. Oh, somebody wanted to ask what happened to Gus's. What was that restaurant? Did you have a restaurant?
Angelo's Taverna.
Oh, Taverna,
Yeah.
yes.
So that was in the same building as Carmine's. We decided to close doors in COVID.
Okay, gotcha.
Good. Yeah, lots of love being shown to you on the text line. Somebody else, though, when we were talking about is it a St. Louis thing, they said they happen to be in the Caribbean last summer and they had toasted ravs on them. And you have to know somebody had it here, though. It's not. It definitely. And I just told Frank this weekend. Friends in town from out of state, they never had it before, and it's just so fun to watch that first bite when they take it in and go, "Wow, this is something. Where's this been my whole life?"
Final thought: what's it like on a Saturday night? You just served 200 people. It's 9:30. You know everything just came out piping hot. Everybody's happy. What about the sensation for you?
That's a great day for us. That's a great day. I think everyone is kind of spent by the end of the night, but it's what we live for in the business.
Allison, thanks so much. Continued success.
Thank you.
All right, we want to thank the great people from Kuna who bring us our weekly special every Thursday on the Big 550 KTRS. Lombardo's, one of the great restaurants in the history of St. Louis.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-859-3220. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 to 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-859-3220. That's 800-859-3220 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. 800-859-3220.
Hi, it's JJ from Spectrum Eyeglass Repair, the nation's leader in eyeglass repair. Is there a broken pair of sunglasses you thought were doomed to stay in the glove box? Are your glasses taped together, glued together? Bring them to Spectrum. We'll fix them. Spectrum Eyeglass Repair carries a large selection of pre-made clip-ons, cases, and accessories. We can custom make clip-ons to fit your frames. You'll like our service, and you'll love our prices, almost as much as you'll love our song. We're in Crestwood on Watson Road and on the web at SpectrumEyeglassRepair.com. Now let's hear that groovy song one more time. Sing along with me.
Spectrum Eyeglass Repair.
Health insurance can feel complicated, but Medica health plans are different. See, we're nonprofit, which means people first, not shareholders. And we're right here in St. Louis with affordable plans for local care you trust. Your doctors, your hospitals, to help you feel your best. With Medica, your health coverage can feel a bit simpler. And now, we're here for you. Medica Health Plans. You're not just covered, you're cared for.
At Midland, we know sometimes all it takes is a moment. A moment for an idea to spark, or to make it happen. A moment to find your dream, or build one. A moment to start your forever, or at least start planning for it. Whatever moments you have, Midland is here for them, and can help you make them. Midland, brighter together. Visit us at midlandsb.com. Midland States Bank is member FDIC.
I'm Mark Cantor. Here's why you can count on Cantor Injury Law.
My name is Michelle. I'm a litigation paralegal at Cantor Injury Law, and you can count on Cantor because we are smart, honest, and hardworking.
I'm Kevin Glenn, and a partner here at Cantor Injury Law. You can count on Cantor because we make your cause our cause.
No fee if no recovery. Please visit CantorInjuryLaw.com or call us at 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's Heidi, and I've only sold 2 houses, but I know how stressful it can be. I also know the team at Lauren Risley Realty makes the entire process as easy as possible. I watched Lauren work with friends and my parents, and I can say she is top notch. She doesn't just know the market, she knows what to look for in a home, and that includes red flags. And through all of it, she is calm, cool, and kind. So if you're in the market to buy or sell a home, or if you just have a question, call Lauren Risley Realty, 314-775-0684, or go to laurenrisleyrealty.com.
Want a song?
You're on my mind like a song on the radio.
Want a quote? It's the song and quote of the day on the Frank and Jill Show. Right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Welcome back, everybody. Time check 11:23 on this Thursday. You're listening to the Frank and Jill Show. Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano, Connor McCarthy here as well. So for the song of the day today, you guys are the best as listeners and music lovers. And somebody recently recommended this version of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Sarah Bareilles performing at the Kennedy Center. And it's a good one. Take a listen. Isn't that good?
Boy, that is. Sometimes the famous songs, when people try to another voice, you think, oh, this is a sacrilege. That was beautiful.
Yeah, and a friend of mine a few years ago who's a very talented musician kind of got me into listening to some of the songs by musicians, to different interpretations of the much younger voices, maybe a different gender than the original performance, and it does kind of broaden your horizon, gives you an appreciation of the song sometimes that you were tired of. Did you see Sarah Bareilles on Waitress? I know you saw that musical on
right, in New York.
Broadway. Was she performing in it when you saw it?
I don't think so.
But she wrote the music and many of the songs and lyrics for it, for sure. So you had that.
What would be another song where the person actually did it better, the second person did it better than the first? I was thinking one is like MacArthur Park, because you think Donna Summer, but I mean, was it Richard Harris that did it first? Donna Summer's MacArthur Park is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
What would be another song where Sinatra did a bunch that people redid that were really good too?
You're talking about like where you know the cover more than you know the original? I think there's a lot of those, but a lot of the times it's because the original was very obscure. And then someone more famous or talented does it, and it takes off.
That's a perfect example of MacArthur Park. Richard Harris did it first, and then Donna Summer. And boy, her MacArthur Park is unbelievable.
Well, and everybody's had that experience where you think the song is original to your generation. Like I'm thinking of the '80s hit "I Think We're Alone Now." That I loved, and I remember it like I was playing it and singing along, probably with my Walkman, and by Tiffany. And it was one of my uncles was like, wait, what? Who's that song by? Are you listening to oldies? And I said, no, this is a hit by Tiffany. And they said, no, Jill, it is not. It was around from back in the day before. So that happens, I think, multiple times to generations as well. But great question for the Royal Banks of Missouri text line. What song did you like better in the cover version than the original, or that you can think of where it perhaps was even as famous or more famous than the original?
Carried that along, Jill, to movies. Rarely is a sequel. Godfather 2, one of the few examples where the sequel is as good as the first one, right?
Right.
I mean, what would be an example?
Well, but I know remakes, if you're talking about, covers are also remakes. I liked the Star is Born remake that came out a couple of years ago with Lady Gaga. And of course the one we think of from the 70s, as Connor's brought up, is a remake from,
I mean,
years
it's been
before.
remade like 5 times.
Right.
I think the best movie remake ever is Ocean's 11. They did the 2001 one. I think is much better than the Sinatra one. I don't know if certain people will find that insulting, but that's my opinion.
All right,
that's a good one. I'm trying to think of other movie remakes. Do you have any in mind that you think are as good as the original?
Oh, let's see. The Rocky 2 is terrible. Not terrible, but it wasn't as good as the original.
But that's a sequel, right? What if somebody said they were going to remake
you're talking remakes?
Rocky? What would that offend you?
No, that can never be done. Who could play Stallone? Come on.
So that's
Stallone will come back as
Yeah. Lord knows he's tried at 80 years old.
Yeah, I think that's true. The Fly, that was one that people
Oh my
did
gosh, Jeff
say
Goldblum,
was,
yes.
that was good. Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978 was actually a remake of.
It used to happen a lot more. I feel like it doesn't happen as much anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if that's
Need
the
Tara
expense of
to-
it. I actually thought
to comment
I
on that.
liked West Side Story, the Steven Spielberg's update of the
Sure.
the 60s movie.
That's a musical though, so that almost like is
so
a
it doesn't
different.
count?
Well,
Is
because
it-
they're always remaking musicals on stage. Like plays and stage like musicals are constantly getting remade. That's what they do. They're coming up with new cast and changing things slightly.
Right. Okay. So I thought you would like this quote of the day. It's a story that I ran across. Andy Garcia telling his favorite experience of working with Sean Connery in the movie The Untouchables. That's not a bad. He
That
does
is
a
a-
pretty good Sean Connery.
That is a good one. I love it. How about this remake? Best remake of a movie, 1991, Cape Fear with Robert De Niro.
Yeah, sure, that is a remake. Yeah, I like that one.
That was with Nick Nolte, Juliette Lewis, Jessica Lange. Oh my gosh. Consular, come out wherever you are. Oh boy, that was scary.
Yeah.
That was intense when he was Nick Nolte was hiding behind the car and Robert De Niro was just beating the tar out of Nick Nolte's like protectors. Consular, come out wherever. Oh gosh. Unbelievable. Yeah, it was one of my favorites.
That's good. That's a very good imitation, and it's fun since we've been we were talking about Al Pacino yesterday when we were talking about Dog Day Afternoon, and now De Niro and one of his greats. Did Untouchables make the list for you? I know you were a Godfather's fan. Did you like
No,
that?
Not quite, but I mean it was fine. It was good. It was not one of my all-time favorites.
Why? What's the differentiator between those ones that you really love and that one, which many people had a pretty big all-star cast?
Well, yeah, just the aura of the Godfather and the way they lived their lives and the mystique behind them was, I think, just so beautiful. I mean, I shouldn't say beautiful, but just so daunting.
What do you look up to in life most?
Yeah.
Well, it's those guys from the Mafia. They really had something to teach us.
Oh, here's a good one. Another great remake, Father of the Bride with Steve Martin and Diane Keaton. That is a great suggestion.
Good job,
Thank you
text
so much.
line.
Yep.
Really good. True Grit. Yep, that's a very good one. And then somebody, when we're talking about songs that have been redone, these are really good. Whitney Houston's version of Dolly Parton's "I Will Love You," "I Will Always Love You" from several of you. Somebody reminding us that it was Tommy James and the Shondells who had the original version of "I Think We're Alone Now."
Could anything, though, in terms of the song angle, be better than "Respect" by Aretha Franklin, which was an Otis Redding, I think, originally?
Yeah, Van Halen did a fun remake, a fun cover of "Girl, You Really Got Me Going." I agree by that.
Did somebody suggest Johnny Cash in there too?
Yeah, "Hurt."
Hurt.
Yeah, that was from the end of his career where the whole album was covers, really. Pretty much the entire
Yeah,
album.
Dolly's done some of those collections
Did
of
you know that
covers as well.
Hound Dog Jill was not originally Elvis.
Yes.
It was Big Mama Thornton. I did not know that. Tainted Love, not originally Soft Cell.
Yeah, I did know that one. That's one of the famous ones where
Yeah.
you kind of get people with it. Trivia question.
No,
All right, good
that was
stuff.
very good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, our friends at Premier Heating and Cooling, they knew better than the rest of us that fall was not really here, right? Because it never is. We get that fake fall every once in a while. This year it came a little earlier than usual. We actually had it in August for a second into the first week of September. Gone. 90s, mid-90s. Going to be a hot one coming up this weekend. Turning on the air conditioner, and unfortunately, somebody listening to this is going to discover that if the air conditioner's been off for a little while, turning it back on, that's a lot of work for it. It's going to be chugging, and you may discover you need some either repairs or perhaps you really have to have that hard conversation looking at replacement. never fear. This is what we've been talking about just to prepare you in case that happens to you, because hopefully you've written down the name, you've written down the number. You know, if you need somebody at your beck and call 24 hours a day when it's an emergency, Premier Heating and Cooling is the place to turn. Whether you need repair, whether you need a replacement, whether you're tired of suffering from the allergies because hay fever season is with us and you know it's time to get one of those April Air products to try to keep the air in your home cleaner and full of fewer allergens. Premier Heating and Cooling is the place for you to call. 636-916-1122, premierheatingcooling.net.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
We haven't been in the 90s in St. Louis for 22 days. I think that streak comes to an end this afternoon under mostly sunny skies. I'm forecasting a high of 91. Humidity is still in check, though. Warm 80s for your evening plans, and then we're clear overnight with a low in the mid-60s. Friday trends just a little warmer. Mostly sunny tomorrow and 93. Downright hot this weekend. Both Saturday and Sunday up to about 95. Humidity comes up a little bit, but the heat index not really much of a factor. We could really use some rain, but we are looking dry, unfortunately, at least through Saturday, perhaps even longer than that. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers on the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
The University of Missouri-St. Louis is committed to providing top-ranked education. More than 80% of our students receive financial aid. At UMSL, more is what moves us. Find your more and explore your financial aid options at more.umsl.edu.
When you pay for tree work, you want to be sure you're getting the most for your hard-earned money. That's why you should always use the ISA certified arborist at River City Tree Service in Baldwin, Missouri. Hi, I'm Steve with River City Tree Service, and we've been the go-to tree service since 2008. Tree removal, tree trimming, storm damage, deadwood removal, stump grinding, and more. Give River City Tree Service a call for all your tree service needs at 314-270-8071. That's 314-270-8071. River City Tree Service.
Hey, it's Heidi, and you know I love my RV, and one of my favorite spots is right here in our own backyard, Beyond the Trail RV Park in Defiance. And now, not only can you stay in your camper or tent, there are 2 tiny homes and 2 houses that are fully equipped. The other thing I love is you can walk up the hill to another fave, Defiance Ridge Vineyards. DefianceRidgeVineyards.com is where you can see the entire list. And to book a room, go to BeyondTheTrailRVPark.com.
Whether you're on your way to see the Tigers or coming back home from the game, be sure to plan a side trip to Overstock Outlet, the best random store around where new inventory from the major big box stores arrives daily. You never know what great deals you'll find, and it's right on your way. 2 locations, in Lake St. Louis at Highway N and Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and in Warrenton at Highway 47 and Highway M. Open every day from 10 until 5. Find them on Facebook at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis, or check out their weekly online auctions at overstockoutletauctions.com. Let's go Tigers!
Sometimes it seems all lawmakers do is tax and spend. That's why Missouri voters passed the Hancock Amendment in 1980 to place a limit on what the government can do with your money. But the Hancock Amendment is outdated. It hasn't provided a taxpayer refund since 1999 and probably won't without reform. That's why Missouri needs a taxpayer Bill of Rights. Colorado has one, and taxpayers there have received more than $8 billion in refunds. It's simple. There should be limits on government spending and refunds when there's a surplus in the state budget. A taxpayer Bill of Rights constitutional amendment would help limit the growth of government. Missouri's budget has nearly doubled in the past 5 years, yet the state lags far behind states like Colorado in economic growth. The Hancock Amendment was supposed to protect taxpayers. Now it's time for an update and a taxpayer Bill of Rights. After all, it's your money. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
St. Louis is home to more than 80,000 University of Missouri-St. Louis alumni, where they drive the region's economy and contribute to its social and cultural well-being. At UMSL, more is what moves us. Find your more and build more connections at more.umsl.edu.
Good job, Connor, per usual. Are you a Kate Hudson or Hugh Jackman fan?
Yeah, Hugh Jackman's cool, and Kate Hudson, wasn't she in your favorite movie, How to Lose a Man in like 10 Dates? Or
I don't think I've actually ever seen that movie.
Okay.
But I did love her in Almost Famous.
Yeah.
That's
She's
when
good
I
in everything.
first saw her. She's one of those people that we'll talk about sort of getting locked in, I think, to the romantic comedy formula, even though she's got a lot more to deliver. So Hugh Jackman and Kate have a movie coming out around Christmas time, and the premise is based on a true story, which is apparently this couple that formed a Neil Diamond tribute band. The film is called Song Song Blue, and it's the Milwaukee company, and they find couple rather, and they find success and love. The name of their band was called Lightning and Thunder, and it became a there was a documentary written on their life, and somebody said that I want to make a movie, and the director is Craig Brewer. He did Hustle and Flow. I think it's going to be good. Here, let's listen to the trailer.
Wow.
Doesn't that sound good?
It does, yeah.
And what do you think of Hugh Jackman doing his best Neil Diamond impersonation there in the trailer so far?
Yeah, I'm amazed at the way some of these actors. Is he going to do? Is that him actually singing too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how pretty good they are. I'm sure they're not regarded as great, but they're pretty good.
He has some musical chops.
Well,
though.
yeah, he does a lot of musicals, like
Okay.
musical theater, so he probably can sing.
Yeah, I think he definitely has it. And Kate Hudson, I think she has tried at different times to launch a music career. I think it's a not so secret desire of hers.
I think she like has a music career now. Whether or not you describe it as successful, that's a different.
Right. I've listened. So I think it's kind of fun that when actors who get to, I don't know, express all sides of themselves, if that's important to them as well. But I don't know. I'm a Neil Diamond fan. That music is part of my history, and I like those two as actors.
And
I'm
you
just looking
like
forward
Hugh
to
Jackman because of his acting ability. Just you think
completely.
He does,
Yeah.
You don't
Just
notice- along the lines of the actors or the singers doing other people's songs, I always thought the connection of Barry Manilow and Frank Sinatra, because two guys, a little contrasting in styles and probably audiences, but Manilow sang a lot of Sinatra songs, and I've seen Sinatra do a couple of Manilow songs, and he does it like unbelievable. I mean, it doesn't matter what you think about Barry Manilow. The guy was an unbelievable songwriter. And when you hear Sinatra's voice on some of his songs, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
So,
I think he was a great songwriter and a great singer. Somebody pointing out, one of my friends texting and saying, "The Greatest Showman," definitely Hugh Jackman. You got to see a little of that.
Oh, yeah.
And he is, when you Google him here, it says actor and singer. So he definitely has
right.
that as part of his persona.
How about this? The best example of an actor that you didn't know had any singing skills performing in a movie. Joaquin Phoenix, Johnny Cash.
Yeah, I would say also Reese Witherspoon as June Carter Cash.
Oh yeah, she did some singing there too. Who did Ray Charles?
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, did he do the singing?
I think so.
Gosh.
Yeah. He sounds like him.
Yeah.
And in what was the Freddie Mercury movie?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Thank you. Good job.
And the Elton John one?
Yeah, but I would say, I mean, that the music.
Talking about Rami Malek. I don't know if he actually sang though.
He didn't do all of it.
He didn't
but
do
I
the
think,
singing.
Yeah, I think he did some
he
of
did the
it.
performing.
Getting a text here about sequels, French Connection Part 2. I think Godfather 2, French Connection 2 They'd be top 5 of all time.
Okay, so those, that's a different question, and I am curious. Best sequels, in your opinion, as a movie aficionado, Connor?
I mean, French Connection 2 would not have come up from in top of my mind, but
you
Godfather
didn't
2
like
was
it?
great. Not because I didn't like it, I just wouldn't have thought about it that right away.
Okay.
Let's see.
I think the greatest one, I think we can all agree, in one of the greatest movies ever, and is Downton Abbey. And then, of course,
Sure.
the second
The
Downton Abbey was
sequels
pretty
and-
good.
yeah.
And now I've just watched the
There's
third
the
one. I think
trilogy,
it's
really.
Yeah,
excellent.
I think we can all agree on that.
I think everyone,
Yes.
it's sort of like just comes to mind.
question, yeah.
Also, the Sex and the City movies,
Never saw
they were just.
I thought everybody hates those.
Not everybody.
And the
Oh,
last-
okay, so not you.
And they
Okay.
got progressively more hated with each season.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
What about like the Batman movies? That's not my genre.
Yeah, I guess those are remakes. It kind of they have ebbs and flows of quality. I would say.
The first one with Michael Keaton was pretty good.
Right. So there's like the Jill level of being not that smart about whether you should like movies or not, because I tend to be very shallow and like ones that the critics do not like. And then there's the Max Foisey and Lynn Venhouse and the smart critics. And so movies like The Conjuring that were highly I guess critically acclaimed and passionate for people who again like that genre.
Yeah, I got a blind spot there because I don't like horror movies. So
You and me both.
You know, I'll watch them, but I don't like it.
If you think the movie stinks, you have your opinion.
It's just it's my opinion. But I have to say, there's a lot of movies that I love that critics say are terrible, and that I don't love, like The Conjuring, that critics say are wonderful. So I have to believe that they know a little more about this than I do. I just think
Don't
that means
cut
I
yourself
have
short.
I have a
If you
simple
think it's
taste.
a bad movie, many people will agree with you. The worst Batman movie was that with
I think it was the Clooney one that was the
Clooney
worst
was
one.
bad.
I liked some of the Indiana Jones sequels. I got excited about them, and I wasn't
They
disappointed.
made a lot of money. A lot of people like those.
Well, I mean, the original 3.
Yeah,
I think
the
a lot of people like.
last one that was
The
what,
last
from
one
2 or
people
3 years?
didn't really like.
I did not like
Yeah,
it.
neither
I
did
thought
I.
it was really long.
Yeah.
We were both like, this should have been broken up into a 8-part series, I think, for sure. So one of the things we can all agree on, we talk about people have different movie taste. We all love Woods Basement Systems, at least any of us who have been a customer of Woods and experienced that exceptional customer service up front. I've told this story before, but back when I was a consumer reporter and I worked almost on a daily basis, I was talking to my friends at the Better Business Bureau. They were helping me. We were working together to try to help solve consumer problems for people. And one of the companies that won not only won awards from the Better Business Bureau and consistently had an exceptionally high rating and went out of their way to take care of customers was Woods Basement Systems. And in a couple of cases, people had been unfortunately royally ripped off by people who had promised that they were going to come in and fix their basements and done the exact opposite. And so I just had this moment of time where I was like, this is a company that really cares about its people and cares about its customers. And I'm happy to say that has continued through the nearly 30 years that I have known about and been associated with them. Of course, Woods goes all the way back to 1986, almost their 40th year of taking care of St. Louis customers, solving water problems and other problems around your house that other people walk away from. Woods does not walk away and says, as a matter of fact, we can solve this for you permanently. Reach out today to woodsbasementsystems.com. Check out what they can do for you. 618-708-4055.
I'm Mark Miller, owner of Miller Furniture and Mattress, your home for quality American-made furniture since 1927. We offer the largest selection of Amish-made furniture in the St. Louis area, plus quality living room furniture from Flex Steel and Smith Brothers. We carry top-quality mattresses from world-famous brands like Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and Chatham & Wells. Shop our Belleville, Fairview Heights, Lake St. Louis, and Ellisville showrooms. At Miller Furniture, we put the family in furniture.
Football is back, which means Dogtown is back. Dogtown Pizza, that is. And with 12 games on Mizzou's upcoming football schedule, you can have a different pizza every game. Kick off the season with a bacon, have a hot chicken on homecoming, and save that pepperoni peppercini, my favorite, for Arkansas. It's football season, and nothing goes better with the pigskin than a hot Dogtown pizza. Let's cheer on those Missouri Tigers. M-I-Z... D-O-G, Dogtown Pizza, and dogtownpizza.com.
September 11th, 2001. Just another Tuesday. just another morning.
Summer has come and passed.
Until 8:46 a.m.
Two airplanes.
We look up and we see this big jet
have crashed.
Bang! Right into the middle of
into
it.
the World Trade Center.
Wake me up when September ends.
In an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
2,977 lives were lost. More than 6,000 were injured. The Twin Towers destroyed.
It looks like the work of Osama bin Laden.
Gone. They're both gone.
Our Pentagon damaged, and a badly shaken nation came together. Remembering 9/11, the Big 550, KTRS.
Whoa, boss, how did that happen?
Mind your business.
I mean, how did a forklift make a shish kebab out of our company truck?
I said mind your business, Billy. It's why we have auto owners. We work with an independent agent to customize our policies. So when the unexpected happens, we know we're covered because unlike you, minding our business is their business.
Oh, that's simple human sense.
Ask First Mid Insurance in St. Peters if auto owners make sense for you.
It's Julie Buck inviting you to join my friends at AAA Travel for a special travel event on September 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the St. Peter's Cultural Arts Center to learn more about river cruising with Viking, the world's leading river cruise line. Viking offers destinations on the great rivers of Europe, Asia, and Egypt. Space is limited. RSVP today and learn more about river cruising with Viking on September 17th. For more information, go to AAA.com/travel show.
The big beautiful tax bill just passed. Do you know how these changes will affect your financial plan? What changes has your financial advisor made to take advantage of these opportunities before they expire? Join me, Kevin Lloyd, for my next tax workshop, 314-641-1010. Learn how these changes can benefit you and your family. 314-641-1010.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPLA, registered investment advisor, member FINRA, SIPC.
Don't look now, but the Stages season is just about over. But before they close up shop for the season, Beautiful, the Carole King musical, now at Stages. It starts September 19th through October 19th. For tickets, stages.stlewis.org.
The Bommarito Automotive Group is Missouri's #1 automotive group. They've sold over 1 million vehicles by giving you a better price, a better selection, and more for your trade. You can shop them online, see their entire inventory at bommarito.com.
I love some Neil Diamond. I know, I guess some people think that his time had passed and that his songs were a little too
I always
overplayed.
think of the movie Saving Silverman. I don't know if you know
Saving
that
Sarah
movie.
Silverman, yeah.
Because it's really stupid, but they're in a Neil Diamond cover band.
Yep, and Frank asked
Diamond in the Rough is what their band is called, I think.
Well said. Somebody we asked about the people who did a great job singing in movies, and of course we had to talk about the great Johnny Cash when Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon in the Ring of Fire. What, was that the name of the movie?
The
Johnny Cash.
The Johnny Cash movie.
We all know the one I'm talking about, but I can't remember the name of it. Kevin Spacey did the singing in the Bobby Darin movie, and then Timothy Chalamet sang Dylan in A Complete Unknown. So those are both. Thanks, Chef Todd.
The Johnny Cash movie, of course, is Walk the Line.
Walk the Line. Another Johnny Cash song.
Yeah, different Johnny Cash.
The mind is a terrible thing to lose.
I had forgotten it too.
Okay, but we you and I both
knew
looking at each
I knew
other.
what you were talking about.
Yeah, we both knew what it was that we were talking about. I have to say, I got a very funny. I saw something kind of funny. I've seen it in the city. I don't know if you've seen this, Connor, or not. You probably don't remember. You were way too young to remember the original. I'll call them porch geese. They were these glass figurines of geese. I think in the 80s there was in fashion, not in fashion,
This
but
was the
in
trend.
home decor, there was a great French provincial a lot of people were into French provincialism as a look in their houses, and these geese were some kind of a nod to that.
They tied in.
And over time, people would put them on their front porch, and then they just sort of became a decor thing that got kind of dated and tacky, I think, over time. Well, they're back. There are the ones that stood outside of Grandma's house, maybe always dressed for the season, taking over everywhere from St. Charles in the city, as well as in St. Louis. And it turns out millennials are the ones giving them a glow up. There are porch goose clubs. People are swapping costumes with them, even posting on Instagram like they're part of the family. The outfits, next level.
So you dress them up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think back in the day, it would have been maybe only like for Christmas, you might put some lights around their neck.
Okay.
Now
you dress them up.
In the kitschy in the kitschy resurgence of these 80s relics, we're talking Cardinals jerseys, Taylor Swift Eras tours with some sequins, geese, even Mardi Gras. That's I think where I may have seen some of the original ones.
I'm seeing here a nativity scene with the geese.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on here. I don't think I would ever do this.
No, but it's fun for those of us who kind of remember the original, somebody who sort of liked some home decor in the neighborhood in the early 80s that kind of was in this. And now it's nostalgic for me to see hipster houses
you
in
do
Soulard.
say those of us. So do you have a porch goose?
I don't,
then?
but I observed it back in the day. I'm trying to remember if my mom had one or just admired them in other people in the neighborhood that had them.
It seems like you admired them. I think you should go for it.
I should
you
pick
should
this up.
get the goose.
But I think I'm in between because I'm too old. I mean, this is really a millennial or hipster.
Oh, you're too old.
I'm
to
too old to
follow
like
the trend?
pretend that I
Okay.
can. I don't think I can pull off the coolness factor of doing it now. But it's kind of a funny.
The porch goose is really the pinnacle of coolness.
Yes. So I'm curious on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line today. Do you guys remember the porch geese when they were around? Not Portuguese, not the people from Portugal, but the porch geese, we'll call them, when they were
goose.
around. Porch goose, thank you.
If you have one, I guess.
When they were around the first time, or have you seen them in your neighborhoods popping up in this era as well? Yeah, so
They're dressing them up. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, this is funny. From the 314, my grandma had Hattie and Henry. We bought her lots of costumes, and yes, we dressed her up. It was really cute. Thank you. That's good.
Okay.
Thank you for.
I guess it's kind of like the trend of just like leaving something out, like in the yard or in the house, and then just kind of changing the decor to fit the season. You know, like the permanent Christmas tree that you like just change the lights on it to like be Halloween or 4th of July. I guess that makes sense. If that's what people are going to do, then yeah.
We
get
have
the
some,
geese. It
we
fits
have
right
some
in.
neighbors, and they have I guess it's the bushes out front. And I don't know if they just have all the ability because they can digitally change the colors, but let's say the holiday time it's red and green, and then in Valentine's Day it's red only, and then for Mardi Gras it's purple and green and yellow.
Okay.
You get it.
You
St.
keep
Patrick's
updating
Day,
it.
July 4th,
red, white, and blue,
it just
and,
turned to orange. They're just
Halloween.
orange right now.
It's a little early for that. Would you get the goose dressed up in the Halloween outfit now? I feel like this is a little early.
Right, but also red, white, and blue is feeling a little old.
We just kind of leave it neutral.
Oh, so they just should have gone to white then.
Yeah,
in between.
leave it neutral. I don't know. Are you putting up the Halloween decorations now? Do you actually even do any Halloween decorations?
Well,
you don't have kids in the house anymore.
I am about to. I have some wreaths, like they're eucalyptus wreaths, on my front door, and I was thinking I might put some fall leaves.
So more of like a fall decor.
Yes,
you're not putting up the giant skeleton and the pumpkins and all that.
The aforementioned not enjoying horror things. I'm also a big chicken.
Oh, so you just don't like the season at all then?
Oh, I do.
It's you and McGraw on the crusade against Halloween.
No, I like Halloween. I just don't love the scariest parts of it in terms of decorating my own homes.
Okay.
But I think it's fun and festive when everybody else does, and I think that's exactly what they should do. Connor, will you back me up on this? When you walked down the hall yesterday, you could smell Bob Ramsey's
I could smell it. And Bob gave me credit for
lunch.
ordering his lunch.
I walked out of my office down the hall toward the office for the Heidi Glaus show, which is right down the hall from me, and I could smell it. I was like, "What is that delicious smell?" I came, bursting in, and Bob Ramsey said, "You know what? The power of radio. I heard you and Connor talking about that incredible rib sandwich, saucy rib sandwich from 3 Bay Barbecue and Bakery, and I had to go get it. And you got to try some. It's out of this world. He absolutely loved it. He enjoyed the sides as well, the saucy rib sandwich. If you're hankering for a little lunch, take it from the Rammer, take it from us, take it from Connor, who was the original recommender. It is a delicious lunch. Not only does it look delicious, it smells delicious as well. Whether you want to go there for lunch or you want a delicious catering that your staff or somebody you're trying to impress is going to remember for a long time, 3 Bay Barbecue and Bakery is the place to get it. Located, of course, in the back of the Phillips 66 station at Clayton Road in 141, where the service bays used to be. It's simply the best. You can check out their menu at 3baybbqandbakery.com or give them a call, 636-227-1208. See you guys tomorrow. Make it a great day.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with